behavior is everything. And I've seen those videos, and those videos are truly disturbing. And some of the videos, frankly, are inexplicable to me. What do we do about it? I've asked the Attorney General, who is an independent elected official, to review the police conduct activities in the protests last night, the night before, if there's one tonight, and then I want an independent, informed review of what was done right, what was done wrong. I want that report in 30 days. I don't want this to be another government ongoing report that comes out when everybody has moved on. Get it done in 30 days. Don't pull any punches. Tell the truth. Everybody saw the video. Everybody wants an explanation. And let's get the explanation from the Attorney General, and let's make it informed and smart, but let's get it done quickly.
But that would be in 30 days. What about tonight? What about tomorrow?
Well, look, tonight, the NYPD, I've spoken with the mayor. He understands the situation. The police commissioner understands the situation. They know the Attorney General is going to review it. I am telling them that if that review looks at those videos and finds that there was improper police conduct, there will be ramifications. That is not going to be a report that just sits on the shelf. This is a moment of reform. I'm not going to judge it on just what I saw on the video, right? As I said, from what I saw in the video, I think it's inexplicable. But maybe there is an explanation, and there's always two sides. The Attorney General will talk with the police, let's hear what they have to say, and then we'll make decisions. But if there was improper behavior, there will be consequences, period. Period. You know, people deserve answers and accountability. As I said, I think one of the problems in Minneapolis was people saw the video of the George Floyd killing, and then the prosecutors got up and said, you know, we have to look, we have additional evidence, we don't know what it is. There's been no answer yet on the other police officers. There's been no answers on why manslaughter, not murder. And I think that just compounds the situation. But I'm not going to make decisions off the video. I understand how difficult the job is of the police, and let's hear what they have to say. But I agree that the videos are very, very, very disturbing.
Governor, as of a few months ago, the state police were the largest state police agency in the nation without patrol cameras, dashboard cameras, or body cameras. Your administration announced a pilot program. Can you please give us an update on if that pilot program is now in place?
Yeah, I don't know. I can get you an update. I don't know the progress of the body camera program, but I can get it.
Governor, a lot of protesters are really sort of tired of the language of a few bad apples when it comes to police brutality, and there are a lot of calls to put more focus on officers who might be watching wrongdoing happening. As we're, protesters, that's what they're taking a lot from the videos that we're seeing of other law enforcement personnel who are watching something wrong happening and not stopping it or following up. What more can be done on this issue to encourage, to protect whistleblowers and to sort of fight against this boys club mentality that a lot of protesters are talking about?
Yeah, I think what I was trying to say in my opening remarks, you listen to the protesters interviewed on TV. Well, what do you want done? And you just get a whole array of issues and vagaries. We know what needs to be done. We know what reforms we need. And let's be specific. If there's an allegation of police abuse, the local district attorney should not be the investigating authority. Why? Because self-policing doesn't work. And the local prosecutor works with that police agency day in and day out. And are they really in a position to be fair and objective? They will say yes, I say, from a public confidence point of view, have the investigation done by someone else. It should be done by an outside agency that people know can be fair. That's why I'm asking the Attorney General to do the review of the police conduct. Because she's independently elected, she's a statewide official, she can be honest and objective about the NYPD. That's why in this state we have, when there's a killing by a police officer of an unarmed person, the Attorney General does the investigation and not the local district attorney. Have a national definition of excessive force. Why? Because there should be one definition. If a police officer abuses someone in New York City, it should be the same as if they abuse someone in Minneapolis or if they abuse someone in Los Angeles. If there's an investigation for abuse against a police officer, release their prior disciplinary record to see if there's a pattern. By the way, if you release the record and it says there has never been any prior conduct, that actually works to attenuate or exonerate the police officer. If you release the disciplinary record and you find out there's been a pattern, that's also informative, right? These are changes that can be made and should be made now, today. Not cursing the darkness, light a candle. This is what we want done. And be specific, and then say to your Congress people, I want this law passed, and then say to your mayor, I want this law passed, and then say to your governor, I want this law passed. And if they don't do it, then say, I'm going to vote you out. That's how this works. And people win at the end of the day when they're focused and mobilized, and they are focused and mobilized today. I would even go further. I would say, now is the moment to say, I want equality in education. This is ludicrous and repugnant that you have some school districts that spend $36,000 on a child's education and some school districts that spend $13,000 on a child's education. How do you justify that the children of the rich get a much better education than the children of the poor? How is that fair? How is that fair at all? Well, you don't understand. It's hard politically to do that. Well, I understand it's hard politically. I also understand it's the right thing to do. I understand that. Well, the political system, too bad. Then elect a new political system. That's what I say. That kind of reform can be done by political will. How can you justify any child in America living in poverty? How can you do that? Any child. Well, it's hard politically. I understand it. I've been battling these things as governor. I would welcome an empowered citizenry that says, yes, we demand equality of education funding. I would welcome it. I proposed it every year. I can't get it. Be specific about the changes you want made and focus that energy. Make it a laser and actually effectuate change. How does George Floyd become different than Rodney King, than Abner Louima, than all these cases, 30 years in my lifetime, 30 years of the same basic situation? And what changed? Nothing. Nothing.
Governor, a lot of the people,
Go ahead.
a lot of the people that we've been speaking to over the last 2 weeks feel that the government is at fault for their situation, specifically people in poverty, with what's going on with the pandemic, because a lot of people were forced out of work and now they're waiting for unemployment, and it's been 3 months and they haven't gotten any money. We have people calling our news station in tears saying that they can't get through to the unemployment line, and they're saying specifically something this state government can do to help them is to open in-person unemployment lines and make sure these people get their money, because what I'm hearing from people is this state of unrest that a lot of these folks that we're seeing are in. They're just desperate. They were already poor. Now they were forced out of work. Now our unemployment system is backed up. They can't get through. So they don't just blame police. They blame government as a whole.
I understand. You're right. And they do blame government as a whole. And this is a very tough circumstance for everyone. And look, it's not a coincidence that the unrest happens in the middle of the pandemic, right? Those are not separate situations. There's tremendous stress on everyone. This isolation of people, the lack of social interaction has created a lot of mental health stress. I think that's true, and that's a fact. And the explosion we saw last night, and we'll probably see again tonight, I think it has many sources of energy coming into that. And what is the direct relationship between 90 days of closed down and coronavirus and unemployment and fear and isolation, and then the George Floyd killing as an accelerant to an already highly stressful situation? More sophisticated minds than mine would have to figure out. So it is all of that. Yes, I understand. On the unemployment benefits, the state administers federal unemployment benefits. The federal government has many rules before people qualify for funding. We're not in a position to tell people line up and I will give you a check. It's not that simple. The money is not give anybody who asks funding. They have to meet certain criteria. The federal government has a whole list of criterion that have to be met before they can get the funding. Most of the people who are still waiting for checks now have issues that have to be reviewed or investigated. I understand this moment, but let's remember the next moment. You're going to be sitting in the same chair 3 weeks from now, and you're going to have the same indignation in your voice when you say, how did the state give out $100 million wrongfully in unemployment benefits, who defrauded the government and actually were living in wealth? How did you do that? You're going to have the same indignation.
Okay.
Promise me.
Because you said before that some people were defrauding the unemployment system. People can't get through just to get basic questions answered, to see if they qualify. They've made their full-time job trying to get through to unemployment. So they're saying it's at a point of desperation where can we do lines with social distancing where I can get my question answered, where I can find out a timeline of when I'm going to get my money. I mean, Governor, people are literally calling our news station crying and saying that their families are starving and they have to borrow money from people.
I understand. You want to answer on
We'll
the
look
progress?
into it. We'll look into that option. It's a good idea. Great. We'll got it. We'll look into the option.
Governor, follow the six.
About the protests that have gone on across the cities upstate. And do you have plans to assist with state police or the National Guard? Do you think it's at that level that you need to do that?
Yeah, I think I said we have had state police helping on all of the upstate. You may have come in late. I said in the beginning, we've had state police helping all the upstate cities. City of Rochester asked for 200 additional state police for tonight, and we're doing that, and we have the National Guard on standby. One more, Mr. Campbell.
So what are those 200 state troopers that are going to Rochester? What is their role going to be? And also, at what point do you step in and take some sort of statewide action, a curfew, deploying the National Guard, something like that?
Yeah, I have the National Guard on standby. Any place that needs additional help where the local police can't handle it, we have National Guard and we have state police. We've had state police helping all of the upstate cities, and that worked well enough. I mean, it is what it is, but we've gotten them all the resources they need. For tonight, Rochester's asked for 200 additional state police. We'll do that. Any other city that asks for additional state police, we can provide that. If we need more than the state police, then we have the National Guard. But it's just making sure we have enough resources to address every situation. And we take our clues from the local officials and the previous behavior. And the only city right now that says they need help is Rochester. Mark, you have really the last one. You have a point?
There are actually a few other cities that we're talking with about some protection for tonight. In Buffalo, we're going to be deploying 150 troopers, and then we're working with Syracuse and Albany. They're still figuring out what they think that they need to harden their infrastructure, but as the governor said, we've been communicating with the county executives and with the mayors all morning, and whatever they need, they'll get.
Is there a point where you implement some sort of statewide curfew? A lot of cities are implementing curfews right now. Is there a point where you implement one statewide?
Yeah, curfews, there is no one-size-fits-all here. Curfews work well in some cities. In some cities, they can create additional issues. So that's a case-by-case basis. But look, where we are in New York, it was ugly last night. But from a management point of view, a police officer point of view, resource point of view, every locality did what they had to do. It's just an ugly situation, and it's a difficult situation. But we have, between the state police and the National Guard, we have more than enough resources to make sure every locality has what they need. Mark, last.
Thank you. I didn't want to break the momentum of all these other, because I have a question a little bit off topic. Well, I mean off topic from what they were saying.
Yeah, but it's not their topic that matters. Everybody has their own topic.
When do you think the time will be ready for the state workers to head back to their offices in the state workforce? I understand it's all regional and it's, at the right time. And as you're reimagining New York, how does that relate to state union contracts? Is that why the state workforce is without a contract today, because you're trying to reimagine things?
No, the reimagining has nothing to do with the contract. Excuse me. Rob, you want to talk about the state offices open with that regional opening?
Yeah.
Right?
And the state offices have been, as we need more employees in certain areas for certain things, for parks, for example, and those employees have been operating. As far as the offices specifically and office-based, those are being ramped up as we put up protocols. They will follow similar protocols to what we put out for phase 2 for offices. But there are also a lot of workers who are actually teleworking, and that's functioning. So that's in place.
But if the state worker feels more comfortable being at that person's desk in the building, is there a way of, and they're not comfortable being at home, is there a way of getting that person, a request being made for that person to go into the office with safety in mind, of course? I mean, I'm not...
What we're going to do is make sure that workers come back when the offices are safe, when we set up the social distancing protocols, when we have it in place so that everyone can be safe with all of the protections that we need to have. So not individual for an individual employee, whether or not they have a preference to be home or be in the office. We're going to make sure that the offices are safe, all the protocols are in place uniformly, and then the workers will come back to the office. But a lot of them, again, are working from home. Along with the phases. So as phase 2 comes in, that's when. So right now is when we're doing that.
Okay, it was a long night. It was a long night. Get some rest, and hopefully we have a better night tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.